everyone, Chris here, and welcome to my channel. For today's 5 on Friday, I'm going to do my summer covers wrap-up. If you haven't seen my 5 on Friday where I do my summer covers video, basically I took 5 books on my shelf whose cover reminded me of the season of summer. I explained why I thought they reminded me of the season, and then I went into them blind with the idea to see if the story was actually set in the season of summer. With the idea that I would do a wrap-up where I talk about what the book was about and whether I was right about the book being set in summer. So first up, we have The Astonishing Maybe by Shonda Rhimes. And this book is set in the season of summer. In this book, we're following Gideon and his family during summer vacation when they move from New Jersey to Nevada. There, he meets a girl his age who lives next door, Runa. She is soon pulling Gideon out of his comfort zone in a quest to find her long-lost father. So I ended up giving this book 3.5 stars, and while it wasn't my favorite, I didn't dislike it. Gideon is really struggling with this move, and Runa, living next door, is like the only kid he's met so far since his move that's his age, so he's kind of forced into spending time with her if he wants to hang out with someone his own age. And Runa is a bit different, and she very quickly ropes Gideon into this quest to find her father because her mom has some issues, and she thinks if she can just find her father, then everything will be okay. So Gideon ends up pitching in to help find her dad, even though he knows some of the things they are doing they probably shouldn't be doing. And it is interesting to see Gideon struggle with trying to be a good friend to Runa, while also knowing that he's doing things he shouldn't be doing, and worrying about some of the things Runa has said about her mom, her dad, and herself. I will say this book hasn't stuck in my memory as much as it would have had I enjoyed it more. But I still remember it being an interesting read, and it was definitely interesting finding out what had happened to Runa's dad and how that had impacted her and her mom. And again, seeing Gideon's journey throughout this book of trying to be a good friend to this new girl he's met, while also knowing that he's breaking rules in the process. But again, this was set in the season for summer, so far I'm 1 for 1. So next up is Boardwalk Summer by Meredith Yeager, and this is another book that is indeed set in summer. So this is a dual timelines historical fiction, with one timeline being set in 1940 and the other being set in 2007. In 1940, we're following Violet, who aspires to be an actress but is busy dealing with issues in her marriage. And in 2007, we follow Marisol, whose grandfather was one of the famed performers at the Santa Cruz Boardwalk. When the gazebo where Marisol's grandparents were married is threatened by a developer, Marisol starts to dig into the history of the location in hopes of finding a way to save it. During this search, she comes across the obituary for Violet, who died at a young age. And she soon discovers that Violet has a connection to her grandfather, which leads her to wanting to know more about Violet's tragic death. I gave this book 4 stars. I really enjoyed the dual timelines and getting to see what was going on with Violet in the past and getting to see Marisol discover things about Violet in the future and trying to piece together the mystery of what happened to Violet. I enjoyed getting to see Marisol get caught up in the mystery of Violet and really start to care about her, and seeing all of the connections Violet had to her present day life and how she discovered each of those connections. I also really loved getting to learn about Marisol and the struggles she was having and why she was so concerned about saving the gazebo and why it was such a big deal for her. I thought this was a really interesting historical fiction, and I would definitely read more by Meredith Yeager in the future, as I really enjoyed her writing style. This book being set in summer makes me 2 for 2. Next up is The Star-Crossed Sisters of Tuscany by Lori Nelson Spielman. And this one is not set in the season of summer. So in this book, we follow Emilia, whose family has a curse that says that every second-born daughter will never find true love. Some people in her family believe in the curse, while others don't. Then one day, her Aunt Poppy, who is also a second daughter, says she believes she can break the curse by meeting the love of her life on the steps of the Ravello Cathedral on her 80th birthday. So Emilia and her cousin Lucy, who are both second-born daughters, accompany Aunt Poppy on her trip to Italy. There, they learn more about Aunt Poppy and their family's history. So this book is actually set in October. I think it might start in the summer when Aunt Poppy gets a hold of Emilia and sets the wheels in motion for the trip, but they take the trip in October. So the majority of this book is set outside of summer. I ended up giving this book 4 stars as I really enjoyed the journey that Poppy, Emilia, and Lucy took. It was really interesting to see how different their personalities were, as with each of them being second-born daughters, they've all suffered because of this curse, but whether the curse is in their head or not, it's hard to tell. Lucy is still believing she can find love. Aunt Poppy is determined to break this curse because she truly believes her true love will be on the steps of this cathedral. And Emilia has basically not dated anyone. She's kind of convinced herself that she doesn't need love and the curse isn't real, but even if it was real, it wouldn't matter because she doesn't care. So it is really interesting to see these 3 very different personalities come together and go on this trip. And I just really enjoyed the journey these 3 took and getting to learn about the history of the family and how the possibility of this curse has affected all 3 of their lives. There were some twists I saw coming, which is why I didn't get the full 5 stars, because there were certain things that I went, oh, I bet you this is going to happen, and then I was right. All in all, I really, really enjoyed the story, and if it's something that sounds interesting, I highly recommend you check it out because it was really engrossing and definitely sucked me in. With this book not being set in summer, that means I'm 2 for 3. Next up is Sticky Notes by Diane Tutall, and this book is not set in summer. In this book, we're following 10-year-old Forrest, who loves lots of things, including his dad's stories. But lately, he's noticed something off with them. His mom then starts to put a sticky note on the bathroom mirror to remind his dad to take his pills. His dad's memory only gets worse from there, and Forrest has to try to understand what is going on with his dad while his dad is dealing with Alzheimer's. I don't know exactly when this book is set, but I know that there are points when we see Forrest dealing with his classmates, so he's obviously in school, so it can't possibly be completely set in summer, though some of this could have happened during the summer. I think a majority of the book takes place out of summer. So I gave this book 3 stars, and I have a lot of complicated feelings about this book. I think it is very interesting to have a book that touches on dealing with a parent who has developed Alzheimer's, and from the sounds of the book, it progresses pretty quickly, and Forrest doesn't quite know what's going on, and he doesn't quite know how to handle it. My biggest issue with this book is that nobody really sits down and explains to Forrest in this book what is going on with his dad. I feel like they're trying to protect him from the reality of the situation, but in doing so, they're actually harming him more. And I wish there had been a point where his mom or his aunt or somebody had sat him down and explained, okay, this is what is going on with your dad, this is what's happening, and here is how we're trying to handle it. Although I do think we see some very authentic reactions from a 10-year-old who does not understand what Alzheimer's is, and is dealing with his classmates who are seeing his dad behave in a manner that for Forrest is embarrassing, and him trying to navigate dealing with his relationship with his peers when he can't explain what's going on with his dad, so he's kind of trying to roll with it and make the best out of a bad situation. I also think the book ended rather abruptly. I wish there had been just more at the end where it wrapped up, and I wasn't a fan of how the book ended. I do think this is an important discussion because it does happen, and I think it's important to give kids different perspectives on something like Alzheimer's. But I wanted more out of this book. I wish it had gone a little bit deeper. And like I said, I wish that they'd had a scene where they really explained to Forrest the extent of what was going on. With this book not being set in summer, I'm now 2 for 4. And lastly, I read Where the Watermelons Grow by Cindy Baldwin. This book is set in summer. This book starts with 12-year-old Della waking up in the middle of the night and finding her mom digging the seeds out of all the watermelon in the house while talking to people who aren't there. This makes Della think that her mother's illness is coming back. While her dad tries to keep their farm going and seems to be in denial about what's going on with her mom, Della is trying to take care of her baby sister while struggling with her feelings about her mom's illness possibly being back. In a lot of ways, she feels responsible, so she decides it's up to her to help fix her mom. She thinks the local bee lady will be able to help her, as the bee lady has helped others fix problems in their own lives. So with that thought in mind, she goes to the bee lady, and the bee lady suggests that maybe the solution isn't to fix what's going on with her mom, but to fix something that is going on with Della herself. So this is another middle grade contemporary that deals with a very serious topic. I believe her mom has some form of schizophrenia. And again, I think it is important to have books like this for middle graders where they get to see these serious illnesses, because there are middle graders, well, people of every age out there dealing with parents who have major illnesses like Alzheimer's from sticky notes, or like schizophrenia in this book, or a multitude of other illnesses. And I think it is important to showcase that. My problem with this one is, again, the lack of parent explaining what is going on. So it is established rather quickly that this isn't the first time Della's mom has been sick. So this illness isn't a new thing. So when she starts exhibiting symptoms, I am frustrated with the fact that her dad doesn't do more to take care of the situation. Because again, he's been through this before, so why isn't he on top of dealing with this, especially considering Della's younger sister is still in diapers. I think she's like a toddler, but she's still very, very young. And he goes out on the farm and just leaves Della and her little sister with her mom, who is obviously having issues. And the lack of parental responsibility bugs me. I did give this book 3.5 stars because I thought it was better handled than Sticky Notes because, again, they've been through this before, so Della has some sort of understanding as to what is going on with her mom. And it is interesting to see her struggle with that because she really does believe she can fix this and isn't realizing the extent of how serious this is. And I think that is a accurate representation of what a child her age would believe, given the fact that I think this is only the second time it's gotten this bad. So for her, she was a lot younger the first time, and this time I think she's still trying to grasp the scope of what is going on with her mom. I just wish, like with Sticky Notes, there had been more explanation and a sit down of this is what's going on with your mom, here's how we're going to help her. And again, more parental responsibility and explanation so that Della and kids reading this book can understand what is going on, because I worry, especially in this book, that a middle grade reader might not have any clue what is going on with Della's mom. And I don't think it gets explained as well as it could have. I also really don't understand why nobody stepped in when it is obvious that Della's mom is struggling, because the book gives the impression that it wasn't a secret that Della's mom was sick the first time, so the town knows. And if they see her mom behaving that way, I don't know why none of the adults that were around did anything. So that, again, was a little frustrating. But I do think this book is important because it does shine a light on mental illness and how that affects not just only Della's mom, but Della, her younger sister, her dad. And I think that is important. So I definitely liked that aspect, and I liked that Cindy Baldwin tried to tackle that. I just wish there, again, had been more explanation and more accountability by the father with what was going on with the mother. And just the ending wasn't satisfied. I would have liked a little bit more there. This book being set in summer makes me 3 for 5. So that was my summer cover wrap up. Like I said, I got 3 out of 5. Not bad considering I was basing it completely on the cover. Did you guys do a summer cover prediction? If so, let me know how well you did on your summer cover prediction. If you've made it this far in the video, leave me emojis that make you think of summer. Like this video and subscribe to my channel, and I'll talk to you next time. Bye!